Hello everyone. Now we have to discuss something about our systole and diastole in this video. So in the previous video we have discussed about the human heart, about its structure and the various types of blood vessels entering it, leaving it, the valves which are present, and we also discussed how the blood flows from the auricles to ventricles, and from ventricles it is pumped to the different organs, right? And we even discussed the deoxygenated and oxygenated blood. Now we are going to talk about our most important thing, that is your heartbeat, that is a cardiac cycle. Okay, we have already discussed about circulation of blood in the heart along with those valves and your blood vessels entering and leaving when we explained in our previous video. Now I would like you all to understand this concept of systole and diastole. So whenever I say systole and diastole, it is a new word for you all, as we have not done this before in our previous classes, but it is very interesting. Okay, so I just proceed with the systole and diastole. So whenever we say the concept of systole and diastole, okay, when we say diastole means relaxed, just remember that, relaxed. Diastole means relaxed and systole means contracted state of the heart. Now you all know, by this time everybody should be knowing that we have to remember this, and we know that we have the upper chambers and the lower chambers of our heart, that is the atria and the ventricles. So these atria and ventricles are in an alternate way of your relaxation and contraction. That means if the atria, that means the auricles, are contracting, at that time the ventricles are the relaxed state, and once the auricles are relaxing, at that time the ventricles are at your contracted state. So now we will not say contraction and relaxation, we won't use that word, but we are going to just replace this word relaxed. Whenever the chambers are in the relaxed state, we say it as your diastole, and whenever the chambers are in contracted state, we know we are going to just name them as your systole. So you have to remember, that means it becomes very clear. That means I said just now that when the chambers, that means let's say the auricles are relaxing. So which word are you going to use? Auricles are relaxing. Relaxing means they are in diastole. That means what the ventricles are doing? Ventricles are contracting. That means systole, and then vice versa. So just if we know what is the systole and diastole, then we can easily understand the events of your cardiac cycle. So please remember, we are replacing the word relaxed with your diastole and contraction with your systole. Moving to the next slide, we should know atrial systole and atrial diastole. That means you all know now the auricles, that are the chambers, that is the upper portion, they will also contract and relax. So if the auricles are contracting, then they are known as your atrial systole, and if the auricles are relaxing or atrium are relaxing, then they are known as your atrial diastole. So you all should know at the same time, when these auricles are contracting, then you should know that the ventricles will be relaxing. If the auricles are relaxing, then the ventricles will be contracting, vice versa. Just remember that both of them don't do the same thing together. So but this looks very simple, but it does not take place as simple as it is shown, and in the language that I've tried to express you all, this is in a simple way. So all of you, please once again watch it, that when the auricles are contract, then it is called atrial. So see why we're saying systole. Systole because contraction word is used. Yes or no? We can see that contraction word is being used. So it's systole. And what is contracting? Which chamber? Auricles are contracting. So it's known as atrial systole. Similarly, when the auricles are relaxing, then what it is called? It's called your diastole. So auricles are relaxing. So atrial diastole. Same way we are going to place it for our ventricle again. So when the ventricles are contracting, then it is called ventricular systole. And when the ventricles are relaxing, then it is called ventricular diastole. So you have to remember, relax means diastole, and look at the chamber, which chamber is in what, accordingly you give the name. I'm sure that it is clear till now. This is the basic of your diastole and systole. Alright, now moving on ahead, what happens exactly in human heart actually? So in the human heart, you have to remember, when the atria is at systole, that is contraction, then the ventricles are at diastole, that is relaxation. So if I say atrial systole, then atrial systole and ventricles are, what are they doing? They are diastole. So atrial systole and ventricular diastole. If I say atrial, let's say diastole, then the ventricles are what? They are contracting. That means systole. So just that way we have to remember. Similarly, when the ventricles are at systole, that means then they are contracting, then the atria is in your diastole, that is your relaxing. So this happens in our cardiac cycle, all right, but this you have to relate it. Now we are going to relate this systole and diastole with the blood circulation. That means how the blood is flowing, which valves are opening and which valves are closing, and then this concept becomes much more clearer. Okay, so when we come to our atrial systole and ventricular diastole, I'm saying that atrial systole means what is contracting? Of course, atrial muscles are contracting. Ventricular diastole means what? The ventricles are at relaxed state. That means the atrial is doing some work. So what happens during this atrial systole? We are going to focus, okay, what happens exactly? Okay, so the atrial muscles will contract, and you know what? You all know that the blood, you all know that the auricles are the receiving chambers. Yes or no? It is going to receive your blood. So you know that right part, that is right auricle, will receive deoxygenated blood by the vena cava. Okay, whereas the left part, that is the left auricle, will receive oxygenated blood from the pulmonary vein. So this is happening at the simultaneous, okay, same time. That means the oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood is entering the upper chamber of the heart at the same time. Okay, so what is happening? They are receiving. So what is happening? The blood is flowing inside. Now what will happen? The blood, once it fills the auricles, what happens is that the two valves, okay, that is the two openings of the vena cava, inferior and superior, and the pulmonary vein, they get closed. Okay, now blood will enter. Now after the blood has become filled over there, what will happen? Contraction will take place. Auricles are contracting, so the blood has become excess. So the next valve that will open is our tricuspid valve, and bicuspid valve will open, allowing the blood to enter now the ventricles which were in your relaxed state. Okay, so by the end of your auricle systole, atrial systole, that means by the time it ends its contraction, the ventricles blood is full and they enter your ventricular systole. That means after that what will happen is your auricles will relax and ventricles will contract. Okay, this is actually the cycle. So now again we come back to atrial systole. Atrial muscles are contracting. Okay, when they are contracting means what? The blood is full over there, openings, now they are not allowing any blood to enter that chamber. Okay, right part, okay, and the left part, both the auricles, they are not allowing. So pulmonary vein will also close, openings of the vena cava also close. That much blood is entered, that means it's full now. So after that ventricles will open. How? Because of this tricuspid and bicuspid valve, they open and they lead the blood to flow through the ventricles, and at the same time the semilunar and the pulmonary, artery, that they also have valves, okay, over there. So semilunar pulmonary artery valves we have, and we have a semilunar aortic valve. So those valves at the same time they will also close, okay, and that time when they close they will produce the sound dup, because this cycle is continuing. Yes or no? So it does not want whatever blood has entered the pulmonary artery to come back into the ventricles. Okay, so that is why it will now close and a sharp sound is produced, that is called your dup. Okay, that is your dup. So this is the event of your atrial systole, and the ventricles are at diastole. Now immediately after this event ends, okay, that time only you have to remember what happened. So we can see out here in atrial systole, out here the pulmonary valve out here it's getting closed. The aortic valve is also closed. Tricuspid and bicuspid is opening, and you can see the blood is flowing to the ventricles. Alright. Okay, so what happens now? The next is our ventricle will go contraction and auricles will now relax. So when the auricles will relax, again what will happen? The two openings of your vena cava and the pulmonary vein, again they open and they start filling the blood in the auricles. So ventricles are contracting, tricuspid and bicuspid valve now they will close, okay, and they will produce the sound lub. Okay, so they will close sharply, producing the sound lub. So now the blood passes right into the aorta and pulmonary artery through the semilunar valves, as the same thing is going to happen. And then what will happen? At the same time the openings will open, just I said now that the vena cava and the pulmonary vein will open and they will allow the blood to flow in the auricles now. And then chordae tendineae will help the valves in position to prevent the upturning, okay, because there will be a lot of force with which the blood will flow. So we have to hold those valves in position, otherwise it might turn upwards or downwards, so leading to the backflow or mixing of the thing. Okay, so there is no mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in our heart. So it's very simple. Don't take so much of tension and study this. Remember, atrial systole means auricles are contracting, ventricles are relaxing. What happens when the auricles are contracting? Because the blood in the auricles is full. Now the two openings, that is your openings of a vena cava and pulmonary vein, will close. Now once that is there, contraction means okay, it's contracting. Now what will happen? Tricuspid and bicuspid valve will open and will release the blood into the ventricles. Now the ventricles will start to fill up slowly. At the same time, the pulmonary artery, there is a valve present out there, and you have your in the aorta there's a valve present out there, that is your semilunar valves present at the base of the artery and the aorta. They will close sharply, producing the dub sound, and this prevents the flow back into the ventricles. Whatever blood has entered these valves will not come back again into the ventricles. Okay, so now what will happen? Now the ventricles will start filling up. Okay, so now slowly the auricles, the blood is emptying, so now it starts to relax. When it starts to relax, the ventricles are filling up with the blood and the ventricles are now contracting. Okay, and then when they contract, at that time the tricuspid and the bicuspid valve will close sharply, and then there will be the opening of the these valves. Which one? That is your opening of your what do you call this, pulmonary vein, and that one, which is again the blood is going to fill in the auricles. Now the blood will start entering the auricles. Tricuspid, bicuspid closed. Okay, and when this tricuspid and bicuspid closes, it closes very sharply and it produces the lub sound. Okay, so this is what it is actually about, your atrial systole and ventricular diastole, and ventricular systole and atrial diastole. So we have to relate with the concept of contraction and relaxation. So this is your ventricular systole, you can see out here. Okay, you can see that. Okay, now again the blood, that means you can see out here. Okay, this vena cava openings are there. Pulmonary vein has also opened out here. You can see the blood is entering the auricles. But what is happening out here? The tricuspid and bicuspid valve is closed. As the ventricle has got its own blood now, it's filled completely, contraction, and then there is opening of these valves, pushing the blood from the pulmonary artery and the aorta. So this is the deoxygenated blood going to the lungs straight away for oxygenation, and after oxygenation the pulmonary vein is bringing back to over here into the heart, and then out here the oxygenated blood straight away from the aorta, it is going to reach the different parts of our body. It is a very simple chapter if you understand where the blood is flowing, which chambers are dealing with oxygenated and deoxygenated, what are the valves present out there, which one is closing and shutting, then everything is very crystal clear. Okay, so actually this is what is all about our systole and diastole. So just remember one thing, that whenever we say diastole, it means relaxed. Whenever we say systole, it means your contraction. Okay, so if you all have any doubts regarding this ventricular systole or your ventricular diastole, or even we say that